Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Bill-chan.
I'm Nimicum.
I'm Van-chan.
In this class, I'll read all of you a part of Ulysses,
S.
L.
Ulysses, James Joyce. Chap, 14 sec 9. A object, intensely regarded, maybe a gate of access to the incorruptible yawn of the gods. Do you not think it? Stephen? Theosophos told me so. Stephen answered. Human a previous existence Egyptian priests initiated into the mysteries of karmic law. The lords of the moon. Theosophos told me. An orange free shipload from planet Alpha of the lunar chain would not assume their thrick. Tuples and these were therefore incarnated by the rubicularity goes from the second constellation. However, as a matter of fact though, the preposterous surmise about him being in some description of a doldrums or other mesmerist, which was entirely due to a misconception of the shallow's character, was not the case at all. The individual whose visual organs while the above was going on were at this juncture commencing to exhibit symptoms of animation was as astute, if not astuter, than any man living, and anybody that conjectured to the contrary would have found themselves pretty speedily in that on shop. During the past 4 minutes or thereabouts he had been staring hard at a certain amount of number 1 base bottled biomass space and coac Burton on Trent, which happened to be situated amongst a lot of others right opposite to where he was, and which was certainly calculated to attract anyone's remark on account of its scarlet appearance. He was simply and solely, as it subsequently transpired for reasons best known to himself, which put quite an altogether different complexion on the proceedings, after the moment before his observations about boyhood days in the turf, recollecting 2 or 3 private transactions of his own which the other 2 were as mutually innocent of as the babe unborn. Eventually, however, both their eyes met, and as soon as it began to dawn on him that the fellow was endeavouring to help himself to the thing he involuntarily determined to help him himself, and so he accordingly took hold of the neck of the medium-sized glass recipient which contained the fluid sought after, and made a capacious hole in it by pouring a lot of it out with. Also at the same time, however, a considerable degree of attentiveness in order not to upset any of the bray that was in it about the place. The debate which ensued was in its scope and progress an epitome of the course of life. Neither place nor council was lacking in dignity. The debaters were the keenest in the land. The theme they were engaged on the loftiest and most vital. The High Hall of Horns House had never beheld an assembly so representative and so varied, nor had the bold drafters of that establishment ever listened to a language so encyclopedic. A gallant scene in truth it made. Crothos was there at the foot of the table in his striking Highland garb, his face glowing from the briny airs of the Mull of Galloway. There too, opposite to him, was Lynch, whose countenance bore already the stigmata of early depravity and premature wisdom. Next the Scotchman was the place assigned to Costello, the eccentric, while at his side was seated in stolid repose the squat form of Madden. The chair of the resident indeed stood vacant before the hearth, but on either flank of it the figure of Benin in explorer's kit of tweed shorts and sooted cowhide. Brogues contrasted sharply with the primrose elegance and timbred manners of Malachi Rowland St. John. Mulligan. Lastly, at the head of the board was the young poet who found a refuge from his labours of pedagogy and metaphysical inquisition in the convivial atmosphere of Socratic discussion, while to right and left of him were accommodated the flippant prognosticator, fresh from the hippodrome, and that vigilant wanderer, soiled by the dust of travel and combat and stained by the mire of an indelible dishonor, but from whose steadfast and constant heart no lure or peril or threat or degradation could ever efface the image of the voluptuous loveliness which the inspired pencil of Lafayette has limned for ages yet to come. It had better be stated here and now at the outset that the perverted transcendentalism to which mysterious, deductive, step contentions would appear to prove in pretty badly addicted runs directly counter to accepted scientific methods. Science, it cannot be too often repeated, deals with tangible phenomena. The man of science, like the man in the street, has to face hard-headed facts that cannot be blinked and explain them as best he can. There may be, it is true, some questions which science cannot answer, present such as the first problem submitted by Mr. Glimpop, and regarding the future determination of sex. Whilst we accept the view of empedocles of Trinacri that the right ovary, the postmenstrual period, asserted this is responsible for the birth of males, or are the too long neglected spermatozo or nemasperms the differentiating factors, or is it, as most embryologists incline to opine, such as Culpeper, Spallanzani, Blumenbad, Bottle, Hertrich, Leopold and Ballanty, a mixture of both? This would be tantamount to cooperation, one of nature's favourite devices between the nisus formativus of the nemasperm on the one hand, and on the other a happily chosen addition, cubits felix, of the passive element. Though their problem raised by the same inquiry is scarcely less vital, infant mortality. It is interesting because, as he pertinently remarks, we are all born in the same way, but we all die in different ways. Mustim Mulligan High Et you Thap blames the sanitary conditions in which our Greylanded citizens contract adenoids, pulmonary complaints, etc. by inhaling the bacteria which lurk in dust. These factors, he alleged, and the revolting spectacles afoot by our streets, hideous publicity posters, religious ministers of all denominations, mutilated soldiers and sailors, exposed scorbutic cord rivers, the suspended carcass of dead animals, paranoid bachelors and unfructified dynasties. He said, were accountable for any and every falling off in the calibre of the race. Calypte, he prophesied, would soon be generally adopted in all the graces of life, genuinely good music, agreeable literature, by philosophy, instructive pictures, plastic cast reproductions of the classical statues such as Venus and Apollo, artistic coloured photographs of prize babies. All these little attentions would enable ladies who were in a particular condition to pass. The intervening meant in a most enjoyable manner. Mr. J. Crother's disc. They attribute some of these demises to abdominal trauma in the case of women workers, subjected to heavy labours in the workshop and to marital discipline in the home, but by far the vast majority to neglect, private or official, culminating in the exposure of newborn infants, the practice of criminal abortion, or in the atrocious crime of infanticide. Although the former we are thinking of neglect is undoubtedly only too true the case. He cites of nurses forgetting to count the sponges in the peritoneal cavity as to, were it to be normative. In fact, when one comes to look into it, the wonder is that so many pregnancies and deliveries go off so well as they do. All things considered, and in spite of our human shortcomings which often balk nature in her intentions. An ingenious suggestion is that thrown out by Mr. V. Lynchback. Arith, that both natality and mortality, as well as all other phenomena of evolution, tidal movements, lunar phases, blood temperatures, diseases in general, everything, in fine, in nature's vast workshop, from the extinction of some remote sun to the blossoming of one of the countless flowers which beautify our public parks, is subject to a law of numeration as yet unascertained. Still, the plain, straightforward question why a child of normally healthy parents and seemingly a healthy child and properly looked after succumbs unaccountably in early childhood, though other children of the same marriage do not, most certainly, in the poet's words, give us pause. Nature, we may rest assured, has her own good and cogent reasons for whatever she does, and in all probability such deaths are due to some law of anticipation by which organisms in which morbos germs have taken up their residence. Modern science has conclusively shown that only the plastic substance can be said to be immortal tend to disappear at an increasingly earlier stage of development, an arrangement which, though productive of pain to some of our feelings, notably the maternal, is nevertheless, some of us think, in the long run beneficial to the race in general, and securing thereby the survival of the fittest. Mysterious, diddlistive, the remark, or should it be called an interruption, that an omnivorous being which can masticate, tiglete, digest, and apparently pass through the ordinary channel with pluperfect imperturbability such multifarious elements as Cancrenous females emaciated by parturition, corpulent professional gentlemen, not to speak of jaundiced politicians and sclerotic nuns, might possibly find gastric relief in an innocent collation of staggering bulb, reveals as naught else could, and in a very unsavoury light, the tendency above alluded, for the enlightenment of those who are not so intimately acquainted with the minutiae of the municipal abattoir, is this morbid-minded aesthete and embryo philosopher who, for all his overweening bumptiousness in things scientific, can scarcely distinguish an acid from an alkali, prides himself on being It should perhaps be stated that staggering bob in the vowel parlance of our lower class. Licensed victualler signifies the cookable and eatable flesh of a caffinally dropped vermits. Although, in a recent public controversy with Mr. Glimpub, and which took place in the Commons Hall of the National Maternity Hospital, 29, 30 and 31 Hall Street, of which, as is well known, Dr. Hohenlich in Med K Q T P is the able and popular master. He is reported by eyewitnesses as having stated that once a woman has let the cat into the bag and a seeds illusion, presumably to one of the most complicated and marvellous of all nature's pursuits, the act of sexual congress, she must let it out again or give it life, as he phrased it, to save her own, at the risk of her own, was the telling rejoinder of his interlocutor, none the less effective for the moderate and measured tone in which it was delivered. Meanwhile, the skill and patience of the physician had brought about a happy accoutrement. It had been a weary while both for patient and doctor. All that surgical skill could do was done, and the brave woman had manfully helped. She had fought the good fight, and now she was very, very happy. Those who have passed on, who have gone before, are happy too as they gaze down and smile upon the touching scene. Reverently look at her as she reclines there with the mother light in her eyes. That longing hunger for baby fingers, a pretty sight it is to see. In the first bloom of her new motherhood, breathing a silent prayer of thanksgiving to one above, the universal husband. And as her loving eyes behold her babe, she wishes only one blessing more: to have her dear Jody there with her to share her joy, to lay in his arms that mite of God's clay, the fruit of their lawful embraces. To be continued.